Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we're doing a retrospective review of Happy Birthday to Me. John will never eat shish kebab again.
Directed by J. Lee Thompson, starring Melissa Sue Anderson, David Eisner, Matt Craven, and introducing Tracey Bregman from The Young and the Restless, who's been on there since 1984 all the way to 2018. This movie's about Virginia, who around her birthday had a terrible accident where her mother died. Years later, while attending a very snobby school, the Crawford Institute or Academy, her friends start to go missing around the time of her birthday, and she starts to remember little bits and pieces from her past. Because this is a retrospective review, this might be a little bit longer, and we are gonna talk about spoilers because this came out in 1981. It's Canadian. Hey? Anyway, there's gonna be tons of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, we recommend you watch it right now. And then come back and definitely watch this. Need those ad bucks. This movie was actually a recommendation from Scuba Steve, who won our monthly movie raffle over on Patreon. It's his birthday at the end of the month, and it's my birthday coming up in a couple days, so this was actually the perfect time. So happy birthday, Steve, and happy birthday to me. Let's get into our likes.
I was very impressed with the whodunit aspect of this film. And somehow they alluded to you knowing who the killer was going to be, but they didn't make you fully believe it. And I liked that because they kept tossing all these red herrings in here, and they did a great job making you guess who the killer was.
It was probably one of the best done whodunits that I've seen in a very long time. Everybody's got the same scarf, everybody's got like the black Jalo gloves. No matter what, no matter how set you are on one specific person, if you haven't seen the movie, like you just still won't know who the killer is until the very end of the movie.
And they develop each character in such a way that they have these like characteristics of a serial killer. We thought Alfred was gonna be the one right off the bat, and 40 minutes in, they actually reveal the first victim's head in like Alfred's taxidermy shop. But it's not him. So what's going on? Who is the real killer then? So they just throw these like curveballs at you, and I like that they had you guessing right to the very end.
And you're definitely going to say like, what the fuck is happening? Probably out loud like we did. Is she having a schizophrenic moment? And is this all in her head? Like there's so many different scenarios where not only are you guessing if it's a person, you don't know if it's a mental instability, which they keep alluding to, and it's none of those things. It's wild.
They have an answer to every situation. Just when you think you solved it, they're like, nope, this is why it's not this person. It's actually her for this reason.
Bananas. I loved the cinematography in this movie. It seemed like it was definitely influenced from Black Christmas because there were a couple like cool split focus shots when people are talking on the phone, which is great. The transitions are really cool because you have, you know, people walking into the camera as it transitions somewhere else, or the camera kind of doing a flip down and then it spins into the next scene, and just everything was really seamless. And it definitely borrowed some influence from Italian giallo films, which is great. So not only from the whodunit aspect, but also from the cinematography. It just looked really great, especially considering this is like 1981. Like one of those movies that's trying to capitalize on an event. You know, you have your prom nights, you have your My Bloody Valentine's, Friday the 13th, April Fool's Day, graduation day, happy birthday. They just kept going with it, and considering this was one of the first ones, I thought it was extremely well done.
This is also one of those like odd likes that can be a dislike, and that is the gore and the on-screen kills that we see in this film, because looking more into it, there is a version that you get to see the deaths, like the weight dropping down on the guy's neck, and like it's actually more graphic. Or like when Bernadette's throat is slit, you see the blood squirting out. So there is good gore in this film. It just depends what version you have.
Our main character, played by Melissa Sue Anderson, was great. I thought like the way that the actress like played her up was very convincing as like somebody who seemed kind of crazy, but at times also seemed oblivious to certain situations. It seemed like she was so obviously a killer because she was kind of crazy, but like she played it really well. I just thought she did a great job. I mean, some of the other characters did a good job as well. Rudy was cool.
I will never forget you, my darling. Rudy?
I also like Steven. That guy just cracked me up and reminded me a lot of John Ralphio from Parks and Rec.
Now, this is spoiling the film, but Melissa Sue Anderson, when she played Virginia, she played two characters. And that's why I think her acting was really good, because at the end of the film, you learn that Anne is actually Virginia just wearing a mask. Her acting was very good because you had innocent Virginia and then Anne, who was playing crazy Virginia. It was all played by the same actor, and she just did such a fantastic job at it. This film also had some epic stunts. I was very surprised at how much damage they did to these vehicles.
Going over the bridge? Oh my god. But they also did they downplayed it to shit. Everybody's going over this bridge. Finally gets to the last dude, and he just totals his car. He lands on the nose of his car, and they just get out
Hey, what happened to Steve?
He chickened out. He's on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, hey, that Nimrod owes me $20.
You're gonna need a lot more than that to fix your entire car. They obviously only did that stunt once, and they probably filmed that scene before they did the stunt, so they're everybody's happy-go-lucky knowing that right behind them is that car should have been actually totaled.
I bet you Virginia, when she got out, she was actually scared for her life and ran away.
Well, she wasn't in the car. That was a stunt guy.
You don't know what they had for a budget.
No dummies look quite like you. Just get in there. Go for a ride. This isn't a like, but I think we need to talk about it. How awkward everybody is around Ginny or Virginia. Her dad seemed like he wanted to bang her. So did the doctor. Every time they got really close to one another, it looked like they were going to kiss or touch her inappropriately. And I couldn't tell if she was the one making it weird because it happened twice with two different dudes, or just both those dudes are I'm going for it. Never mind, this isn't my time. Let's keep acting.
Meanwhile, this whole time, it's not Virginia, it's just Anne doing the old bait and switch, and she's leading him on.
Oh, maybe it is. Okay. Then it's more acceptable.
Still awkward.
Still awkward because dad would assume that he's trying to get with his daughter still.
And doctor with patient.
I think that happens more than you'd think.
Yeah.
Only because you're giving so much to them, and then they're trying to give too much to you. On that note, what didn't we like?
I think the glaring issue is the length of this film. It is almost 2 hours. Despite how good this story was, there's a lot that could have been cut out, and it still would have had the same impact.
There are certain character interactions that just didn't even need to exist. There's little tiffs between people dating each other. They were used to try and create new red herrings, but I don't think that they needed to exist to make anyone red herrings. All you need to do is show them with a scarf on. And you're wait, is that the killer? Every time. You don't need to play it up wait, he wasn't invited to the movie?
Seems like someone didn't bother to ask me to come along.
That guy's the killer. How do you even know that they were there?
We see Rudy planting the scarf in the garden. That was a whole bit to make him seem like the killer, but it went on for way too long.
And even the police finding out about it, again, to try and drive the point where, oh, there might be a killer revealed here, and there wasn't. The build-up scenes and the execution of the following scenes, just, if you would have trimmed those out, you would have got maybe 10 minutes because you would have got the whole library scene. You could even take out the Rudy scene and we're good. In the bell tower, didn't need it.
Or the panty thief scene, afterwards.
Right, when he pulls it out?
Yeah.
What a creep.
I had to win. I was carrying this next to my heart.
We watched a whole motocross race.
Just so he can pull out the panty and say, hey, this is why I needed it. It's a Lucky Charm kind of deal. So if panties are close to your heart, do you start winning things? That'll give me my first solo victory royale, ladies and gentlemen. P.O. Box in the description. Send me your panties. That's not true. I don't have a P.O. Box. It's too expensive. $40 a month. Not happening, guys. Like John mentioned with the kills, I really, really wish we saw the actual kills because it looked like they had the practical effects, and we did find out after the fact that they did have the practical effects, but we couldn't see them because they had to be cut so that didn't get an X rating, which is seriously extreme. But I guess in the 80s, the rating system's a little different because now, PG-13 movies can show boobs and say fuck, so it's weird. The rating system's all fucked up. Wait, are we an R-rated show?
Definitely.
Because I say fuck more than 3 times.
And we show graphic content. Boobs, too.
By accident. We only show boobs by accident on our early shows when I didn't think that anyone would watch our shows, so I didn't blur them out.
Now there's going to be a bunch of people rushing to the early episodes.
Don't go to those ones. What did we watch the other day that had total boobs all over the place?
Sweatshop.
Sweatshop. Total boobs.
All the boobs.
My Bloody Valentine, I blurred the girl's boobs out, but I didn't blur her vagina out, so there's totally vagina. Definitely don't put the timestamp in the comments like everyone else does. Thank you.
When watching this film and looking at the flashbacks, there's a lot to question on the actual time frame. They're making it seem as though nobody knows who Virginia is.
Just take your little girl and go home.
And then they reveal that 6 of the 10 know who Virginia is. It's one of those like long-term gaps. But when they show the flashback, it's like Virginia is the exact same age. All her friends are the exact same age. It's like time hasn't even passed at all. It just doesn't make sense when you're putting all this focus on flashbacks, yet they feel as though they're happening in the now.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Happy Birthday to me was an excellent whodunit. It had me guessing who the killer is from start to finish, even though I was like 100% on one person from start to finish. I was still maybe 99%. That 1% kept jumping from other person to other person. A movie that can do that successfully, you gotta give props to. So many things caught me off guard in this movie, and the last scene in the movie was creepy and super disturbing. I enjoyed our characters and the acting, but I did think the movie ran a little bit too long. There were a lot of scenes that could have been trimmed up or even removed completely, and you would still kind of think that certain people are the killer at certain points. So I'm gonna give this 3.5 demigod paper tosses out of 5.
This film did a really good job in telling a story for a whodunit. You had tons of red herrings out there, and the way that they showcased the red herrings was excellent. It left to so much mystery. You knew who the killer was, but they always left you guessing. And that's what makes this story very interesting. Though certain aspects of the story I think could have been left out because yes, the length was too long and there were some character interactions that just came off as awkward and didn't further the plot. And the last 10 minutes showcase how you could build a great story arc and deliver with a strong finale. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this 3.5 shocking special effects out of 5.
But the really funny thing about static electricity is that it can be discharged.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. And if you want the opportunity to recommend a movie for us to review, check out the Patreon. Links are in the description. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything, Bloodbath and beyond. I know it's a lot to take in, guys.